nowhere. It just, whatever. Oh, technology.
Oh, yes. Love it.
So what I was trying to say is at least she'll get to come to New Orleans next year, because New Orleans is going to be amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that where you're from?
Oh, no. I'm from Utah. Very far.
Very far from there. Where do you live in Utah?
Well, I live in New York City now.
Oh.
I was born and raised in Salt Lake.
Okay. That's where my dad lives.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my parents now live down by Provo in Spanish Fork. Mm-hmm. But I was in New York until I was 19. So I've been in New York in total probably like 9 years now, or 7 years. And then I've lived in different countries and different states and stuff in the meantime. But back in New York again for my second run.
Second run. Well, I didn't have a lot of information about you. I just knew what I knew from knowing you on the live side of stuff.
Sure.
So, as far as like Beachbody's concerned and all that sort of thing, I didn't really know a whole lot to be able to put out so they would know. I do have this recording, so I can share with everybody. I so appreciate your time, because I know you're small.
No problem.
But it really means a lot that you came on to talk to us. So I've got it recording, so hopefully we'll get some for it. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about you. And then
sure. So, I actually come from a background of sales. I've had lots of sales jobs. I've worked with different, multi-level companies. And with Beachbody, I got into it because of the live aspect. My husband was an insanity instructor, and I started going to his classes. That was before I married him. That's actually before I was dating him. And I think that the only reason I really showed up as often as I did was because he was hot. I mean, it helped getting out of bed at 4:45 in the morning because, and it was a good workout, and I kept being able to do things that I never thought I'd be able to do, right? So I was exceeding these expectations I'd had of myself, and I learned a lot. So after being an instructor for 2 years, then I won the Beachbody's Instructor of the Year, which, there's 25,000 instructors nationwide. And it's, I would not have guessed that after only 2 years, I would have won, because to win Instructor of the Year, it's voting. Okay. So it's done by the people that attend your classes, people online, that kind of thing. So you do need to have a network. But to be perfectly honest, if you don't know how to utilize a network, it doesn't matter how many people. It's how many people support you, how many people support what you do. They don't have to, all they had to do was push a button, right? It's not like I wasn't asking them to do anything crazy. But when it comes to social media, when it comes to creating your story, when it comes to authenticity, transparency, how you present yourself is really important. And not from the standpoint of worrying about what people are going to think. In fact, the opposite, because the more transparent and the more authentic you are to your true self, that's going to filter the people that will actually support what you do. They don't have to even buy anything Beachbody ever, but they also don't need to talk down and demean you for ever being a coach or for being affiliated with Beachbody or whatever. And when I started being louder about who I was and clearer about who I was, it started to get people to almost, what's what I'm looking for? Pre-qualify or self-qualify themselves for Beachbody programs, for things that I'm doing. And I started to set myself up to be a resource, right? Because a resource is where people come to, and you are giving them the right key. Of course, now my cell phone's going to die. Let me grab my charger's just right here. 1 second. Wasn't planning on using my phone. This is what happens when you teach back-to-back classes on your cell phone. Okay. And back in again. So, what did I just say? Okay. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about is about two things: getting out of your own way and creating your story. Because the more you are authentically you don't have to sell anything. Because the second that you're trying to sell products, you're in competition. And for me, when I let go of the whole idea of competition or worrying about if someone had another coach or worrying about, I don't worry about any of that stuff. If they've already got a coach, I'll still answer their questions, right? Now, if they become a time vampire, my rule of thumb is if it takes me less than 5 minutes to do, no problem. I'll answer it for anyone, anytime, 24 hours a day, as long as I'm available and as long as it's not going to take a lot of my time. Because I truly believe that it all comes back to you. So they might not sign up under you, or they might already have a coach, but say then they have a friend that wants to get involved, or whatever the case may be. It just always seems to come back full circle, right? So I don't worry about if someone else has a coach. And so much of that has to do with when you're talking about building your image, building your business as a coach, the number one thing is, who are you? What got you into fitness? What got you to want to help people? And, you know, as nice as it is to be able to say something like, I'm going to flip to my page. The first thing you want to answer for yourself is why. Why do you want to help people? Because just saying that you want to help people is not good enough. It's just not. It's not clear enough. You need to identify who you want to help and why. Because that's going to make a big difference in the language that you choose in how you interact online. So what I did is I actually spent time saying, who is my customer? Who is the person that I want to help? So for example, this isn't mine because I mostly, my main focus is instructors. But for example, let's say that you know your biggest struggle is your schedule with your kids. And so you're looking for your target audience is moms from, 30 to 40. Their kids are in school. They have extra time, and they're just now rediscovering who they are. Maybe they've never had the chance because they started having kids so young. So if you look at the case where you've got this mother who is really finally making time for herself again, who's really starting to identify who she is, and you start gearing your language and the content that you share for that person, they're going to feel like you're speaking to them. If you're generalizing everything and just sharing tips and tricks about fitness, about whatever, you're all over the place. So I know that we want to help everyone, and it doesn't mean that we won't, but the clearer the content, the more you're not ever going to have to sell anyone, because they'll already sell themselves on what they want to do, or because they relate to you, or because they believe in you. So the 3 things that I look for when I'm creating these, say my Facebook messages, whether it's for my, I really don't use a fan page, by the way. I know that with coaching, they tell you, oh, you should put it on your fan page and share it. I don't, and I'll tell you why. I want to keep things simple, specific, and authentic. The majority of coaches do not have 5,000 friends and 10,000 people on their fan page. I prefer to keep people as close to me as possible, so you're my friend. You're not just a fan of my page. I can actually get to know you. I can see the pictures you post about your kids. And honestly, to be successful in a Beachbody business, you don't need to have 10,000 people on your fan page. And I feel that it's very, very redundant to post on your Facebook page and then share it on your page, because who's going to want to like your Facebook page if you just shared it onto your personal page? If you want to utilize both pages, then share, say, a clip on your personal page and say, for the full video, go to my like page. So share the most, the juiciest part of your information, share in the video so that it gets people to want to go to your like page to watch the rest. So let's say it's the finished product of your Shakeology recipe, and you're showing a picture, and you're like, for the full recipe, click here, go to my fan page for the full recipe. Give them a reason to go to your fan page. Don't just share the exact same information from your fan page. It's super redundant, and people are going to either unfollow your personal page, which you don't want, or they're going to unlike your page, because it's too much. It's too much stuff, right? So be simple, be specific, and be authentic. When I see all of these Beachbody coaches they're basically sharing the same status, right? One of the coaches or one of the head main lines will post, hey, everyone, this week post, you know, and they'll give the example of what they think that you should share on your timeline. And I watch people copy and paste almost the exact thing verbatim. Because I used to do social media as a job. Content development and strategy was my job. I did it for Linkin Park and some huge name bands with Warner Music Group. So I learned a ton about keeping your engagement up. Organic engagement was the biggest thing. So that's why I understand so much about social media. And there's a couple variations to that too with algorithms. And if you just share from your like page, you actually don't get as many people to see your status. There's a lot to it. I highly recommend you follow Chalene Johnson and her social media stuff, even her free stuff, or join her newsletter if you don't already, because in her free videos, you'll learn a lot about social media that is really helpful. So let's talk about, if someone doesn't know you, can you actually explain to someone in a paragraph who you are? Why you're a coach? Because if someone's asking you, well, why should I be a coach? If you can't speak for yourself, don't tell them, don't try to give them their meaning. They're going to have to determine that on their own. But if you're able to really, in a quick paragraph, confidently explain why you're a coach and just tell the truth. If it changed your life, if you had a huge weight transformation, for me, I lost 50 pounds. The reason that I became a coach was because I was already an instructor and people came to me to get more information, to ask for more support, or they moved and they couldn't come to my live classes anymore, right? So I knew the people that I was helping were buying Beachbody products anyway. So I became a coach not to make coaching my business, but to use it as a piece of my business to help give people what they need and what they're looking for. So if your people can relate to you, right, that's what's really going to build your team. And not only if you get it so that you can have people identify with you, it's more likely that their friends are going to identify with you. So the clearer you are in your message, and they go, wow, this woman is just like me, or this man is just like me. They probably have friends and family that are just like that too. That's what brings a long-term team to create community. Because without community and just having one-offs and discount coaches, I do not spend my time getting discount coaches. I don't. And people can come to me, and if that's what they choose, that's fine. But my goal isn't to build my rank based off of discount coaches. So I only became an official Beachbody coach 2 months ago, right? Hit Success Club 10 my first month, got my jump start, Success Club 5 the second month, and only based off of the community that I already have. People are already like me because I've been spending time identifying who I am. So let me find, because there's one paper that I really break down how to create your story. If you guys saw the books and the notes and all this stuff, it's insane, the kind of stuff I keep track of. So number one, connecting emotionally is super important. And then figuring out how to capture their information and then convert them into someone that's going to reach out to you continually. If you're trying to figure out who your ideal person is, first let's talk about what are their values. What are your values? Are you religious? Are you not religious? Because if you are religious and you are trying to sell someone that isn't, you already have some key values for yourself that don't align, and it could be harder. It could just make it more difficult language-wise. But let's say you have the same values, the same, it's your family, the same struggles, the same desires. So you need to identify what those are for you. What kind of job do they have, or are they a stay-at-home mom? Do they have a family? What's their income range? Does their income range, $20,000 a year? You need to know how much money they're making for who you're reaching out for. Because if you're only reaching out to stay-at-home moms, selling them on Home Direct and for Shakeology and a bunch of other products might not be the right fit for them. So it's something you really need to understand. So what emotional things drive them? What drives the person that you're reaching out to? Are they driven by money? Are they driven by contribution? Are they driven by their family? Are they competitive by nature? Or are they driven by purpose? Figure out what drives you. Are you being a Beachbody coach because you want to make more money? Are you doing it because you want to bring more money to your family? Are you doing it to contribute back to people? You need to know this, because that's what's going to help you build your business, is focusing on what's most important to you. Because if you focus on contribution and helping these specific types of people, then money will come. Money is such a far afterthought for me. I don't think, okay, how do I get, make more money this month? That's not how I work. Maybe it's how can I help more people, but it's not how can I make more money. When it's the middle of the night and you can't sleep, what keeps you up in the middle of the night? What things do you worry about? Because those are probably the same concerns as the women and the people you're trying to reach, right? And the more that you can fulfill those needs and give people that kind of motivation and inspiration, the more it's going to help them solve a problem. If you can help solve and ease someone's pain or give them connection, you're going to create that community and that family feeling. So that's kind of the short version of that aspect. Now I want to talk about figuring out what's important about you and your story. If you're not sure what your story is, take out a piece of paper and write down the biggest events in your life that completely changed your life, for the good or not for the good. Because regardless of what got you to shift your life, those were big teacher moments, right? Those are the things that made you either accelerate forward or crumble. And my belief is anytime we have something earth-shattering happen, that's the universe or God telling us that the whole infrastructure's got to come down. We need to basically expand our emotional and spiritual real estate, which means we need a new foundation. You can only build an existing house so high. You can only remodel it to a certain extent, but you cannot expand it unless you expand the foundation. So that's how I see it. Now, what positive from this list that you've created, right? Let's say of the traumas in your life that have shaped you. What positive results came because of that trauma? What happened because something traumatic happened to you? Like, one thing is I was watching, if you haven't watched, Anthony Robbins has a special on Netflix called I'm Not Your Guru. If you haven't watched it, you should. There's actually a lot of incredible takeaways with it. And basically, we should sit down and really address all the blame for the people in our lives and in the past. But you can't just blame them for abandonment. You need to also thank them for that abandonment, because what that taught you. It made you appreciate connection. It made you appreciate the people that are there for you, or whatever the case is. Now, were there any big victories in your life where you were just like, yes, I got this. This is incredible. Write those down and know what they are, because that gives people hope. So that wherever they are in this wheel, because no matter what, even if we're in a really incredible place right now, something else is going to happen to put us back on that soul-searching, purpose-seeking path until we get back to that success and that victory again. So know what your victories were, so that as you talk to people, you can share your victories to inspire them. Now, what upsets you? Like, let's say you have a sister-in-law that is getting sick all the time and will not go to the doctor and won't change her diet, and you know that if she just drank Shakeology and stopped having fast food, her health would improve. Like, that's an example of what upsets you. Like, it drives you completely bananas that no matter what, they're not making the changes they need to make. Identify what that is for you. That thing that when you read it online, it just drives you completely crazy. What do people... Nice. That's not even a proper sentence and I can't read it. That's awesome. Anyway, forget that one. What do you want people to have? When it comes to Beachbody products or lifestyle changes, what do you want for them? What is your goal with that? Is it to help them lose weight, get their life together, improve their nutrition? You need to know this. And what is possible for them if they decide? explain to people, give them an image of what that will look like if they decide, if they commit. I don't believe in trying. We do something or we don't do it. We might not be successful the first time. Doesn't mean we didn't do it. It just means we didn't do it as successfully as it just might take some more practice. That's it. So now that you say, we've established a few of those things, who needs your story? Who needs to hear what you have to say? Because everyone has an incredible story, and we need to reach out to other people like us that need that hope, that need that help, that need that hand up. Because the more that you know about yourself, the easier it is to find your tribe, right? Now, like for example, when I started building my social media, before I even got into Beachbody, I was a full-time musician. I toured all over the world: Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Israel, Turkey, Greece, Costa Rica, Canada, Mexico. I did all the booking for my band. I paid for all of our recording. I did our budgeting. I did everything, all of our appearances, anything you can think of, I did all of it. So I had to take all of these practices in identifying who our fan base was, right? To understand who I was. So when it came to sharing my story, a lot of my songs are written based off of my struggle or my traumas. So here's an example. When you're making videos, and I encourage video because video is where people get to actually see you, right? When people are reading language, it can get a little convoluted, or they create their own voicing to it. Here's one of the biggest tricks for video. What we want to do is look at the screen. What we need to do is look at the camera. Because let me show you the difference. I'm going to show you two different versions of part of my story. Okay. So what most people do, I need to sit back from my headset. What most people do is they say, yeah, so I went through a really hard time. There was a lot of trauma in my life. And at one point, I got into drugs a lot and I overdosed into a coma. And it was a really hard time in my life. And I think that a lot of people could be, helped if they just knew that, if they started working out, they'd feel better. That's what a lot of people do, right? It doesn't mean the story can't touch someone or help, but let me show you the difference. When I look in the camera, when I focus, and when I'm more present, even though it feels completely off and weird and awkward, it changes everything. Because now if I look in the camera and I say, well, I got into fitness. I had a really bad substance abuse problem as a teenager. I got into drugs pretty bad, ended up overdosing into a coma. I really didn't even want to live at that point. And even for the next 6 or 7 years, I wished I would have died on the table. I got into fitness because there was no hope left. I got into fitness because I didn't feel alive. I felt sick. I was 50 pounds heavier. I had arthritis, endometriosis, hypothyroidism, and I honestly felt like I just couldn't take anymore and I couldn't live like this. Can you see the difference when you look in the camera, when you really go into your heart? Because if you can go back to that moment and remember what that pain feels like when you share your story. I'm not telling you to share the worst parts of your traumas, because it's not necessary for us to go to that place, at least all the time. But when you can look in the camera, people feel like they're looking at you. They feel like you're speaking to them. So even language that I choose, I say you. I don't say you all. If my intention is to connect on a one-on-one basis, then I look into the camera and I speak to one person. When I write my messages on Facebook, I write them to one person so that when they read it, they feel like I'm speaking to them. It seems like just a little thing, but it makes a very big difference in how people interact. On a day-to-day basis, I get 20 to 30 messages from people, whether it's from my story, my Beachbody coaching. I'm in a lot of different groups. I'm very active. I give free help all the time, constantly. Because the thing is if you contribute first, everything else will come. But if you interact with every person thinking, what can they do for me? Or what will they buy from me? Or how can they benefit me? Your business is not going to build. It might work sometimes, but you'll get Emerald or you'll get to Ruby and then that's it. Because you can convince a few people that already know you, but trying to sell people that don't know you and don't know who you are is not that great. It's just not that effective, rather. So when you, I'm going to stop there because I could literally go on with just a couple of these topics for hours and hours and hours. I want to touch on one more thing, and that's social media etiquette, because this drives me completely crazy. And I touched on it on the beginning, but I want to explain a couple of things so that you understand. When you post on your fan page, less than 12% of the people following you see the post. So if you've only got 100 people, 12 maybe saw the post. And that's dependent on if they're interacting, because that's the way the algorithms of Facebook work, okay? Now, if you pay to sponsor your story or boost it, that still does not give access to everyone that's liked your page. That gets you to about 20 to 25%, which is crazy, right? You're paying. These people already liked your page. Like, they already basically signed and said, yes, I want to see what you're doing. But this is the way Facebook works. So when I was doing the last launch for Lincoln Park, they have 40 million fans. I had an unlimited budget from Warner Music Group, right, for them to push it as much as they humanly possibly can. And we still could only get to 25% with an unlimited budget. 40 million people, right? So when you're wanting to create an event, you want to do an open house, or you want to explain what country heat is, or you want to give a demonstration. If you set up a Facebook invite, do not just invite people without talking to them first. It's one of the biggest ways to get people to shut down. They've already got enough notifications, and then you are that salesperson. Sorry. But when you do that to someone, you're saying, I don't care about what you think. I'm just going to do this for me. But when you set up an event page and then say post on your personal page, hey, I'm going to be doing a demo of Country Heat and explaining what it is. For anyone that wants to join the event page to tune in live, here's the link, or direct message me and I'll add you to the group. Or if I think someone would be interested, or they've expressed interest in the past, I personally message them. Personally. Now, let's say you just became a Beachbody coach, or you've been a Beachbody coach, but you just feel like you're not, people keep signing up, but not through you or whatever. They may not really know you're a Beachbody coach. When I won Instructor of the Year, I went to every single friend and personally messaged them to vote for me. I have 5,000. I spent every single day, and I actually didn't get through everyone because I was on this every single day. But by personally messaging them, I did have a piece of the message that was copied and pasted, that I did copy and paste into each one. But I did personalize the beginning, and that's so critical. Because if you personally message someone and just say, hey, I've got this preview coming up, I thought you'd love to tune in. When people do that to me, I'm like, well, first of all, why? Let's say I hate country music. So that makes me feel like you don't know me at all. Now, I really don't want to tune in. But if there's something at the beginning that's personalized, even if you just jump to their page for a second, be like, oh, I love that picture of your dog, so-and-so, so cute. Hey, I'm doing this preview, and I'm just reaching out to my friends to let them know in case they are interested. Don't assume. Let there be a dialogue. Let people feel like they actually have a choice, because if they have a choice to interact with you, then you don't have to sell them, because they've already decided, or they're already on board, and their defenses aren't going to be up. When you are deciding which social media networks to use, I would only choose 2. The reason is we only have so much time and energy in a day that Facebook is usually one of people's number one. Right? But there's Snapchat, and there's Instagram, and it's endless at this point. I think you should only choose 2 to focus on. Either Instagram and Facebook, Snapchat and Facebook. Focus on 2 and do them well. Instead of being, Twitter and spread out all across everywhere. It's just too much, and you can't focus, and you're not going to be consistent. It's not possible to manage that many things as one person. It's just not. So figure out where your people are. If you're mostly pitching to stay-at-home moms, are they really on Twitter? Or are you probably wasting your energy? Or if you're dealing with, late 20s to early 30s, where they came out when Twitter was a big thing, they're more in business, that kind of environment, Twitter's their thing, great, use Twitter. Otherwise, don't waste your time and your energy because you're just going to exhaust yourself. Truly. And just make sure you post where your crowd is, and you have to stay consistent. Consistency is everything. You can't post once and then not post again for 2 weeks, because that drops you in the algorithms of Facebook, and that makes Facebook think that you aren't that interactive. So they're not going to make you a priority. And I want you to test your group and your crowd of people to see, what do they respond the most to? Do they respond most to cute animal pictures? Do they respond the most to articles? Or, because if you notice that you'll post something with Beachbody that's like, hey, you got to do this thing today for free, and the 3 people that liked it are Beachbody coaches and no one else, right? That tells you you're doing it wrong. That right there. You don't have to have tons of people interacting, and it doesn't have to be your highest interaction, but if the only people liking your stuff is Beachbody coaches, you're doing it wrong. You need to reevaluate what you're doing. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with what you're doing, but if you want to be successful, it's telling you that method isn't working. That's it. So when you get frustrated, when you feel like you can't sell a coach, when you feel like you can't get someone to sign up, or you just keep hitting roadblocks, write down what you're saying and how you're saying it, and then talk to each other. That's what these teams are for. Practice on each other. One of the best things you can do is do role playing. And it's kind of awkward and weird at first, but it's super helpful, because then when if someone interjects with, well, no, how do you respond to that? Because when you can confidently respond to someone's questions, even if you don't know the answer, they're more likely to come back to you later. Maybe they just don't have the time. Maybe they had a long day. Maybe they're exhausted. Maybe their mother's sick, or their dog just died, or whoever. Like, who knows? You don't know what struggle they went through that day. So don't take it as anything personal. It is not personal. So let's say that it took you a while to come on, and they say, listen, I'm just not ready right now. Be like, listen, I totally understand. I wasn't on board at first either. But I just want to let you know that I'm here to answer any questions. You don't have to sign up under me for anything. If I can help you in any way further your path to getting healthier, let me know. Because if it'll take me less than 10 minutes to hook you up or take care of you, I will. That lets them know that you aren't just trying to sell them. So over time, people start then coming back daily because you've talked to so many people. The whole point in identifying your story, knowing as much about yourself, is because then when you talk to people, you can realize how to relate to them. If they did have a big trauma, or they're really sick, just be like, yeah, I do know what that feels like. When my mom was sick, I really struggled with overeating and just not taking care of myself. That's why if you need anything, and I truly mean this, reach out to me. I'm here. But I can only extend my hand. But it's here for whenever you want to grab it. So don't stress about it right now. I know you're going through a lot. Just do your best to take care of yourself. Who is going to be scared by that? No one. Because at the end of the day, guys, it's not even about Beachbody or Shakeology or the workouts. It's about the community. When you think about why you became a coach or why you go to Summit, you don't go to Summit strictly because of the workouts. I mean, how fun is it to hang out with the coaches and talk and be around like-minded people? We spend so much time, especially if you've got a family, especially if you have kids, you don't get that time to connect with other women like that, to discover who you are, to believe in yourself, to be able to fulfill yourself in some other way. Because for most women, once their kids grow up and are out of the house, they don't have anything left. That's scary. So identify who you want to help and why. What events in your life sculpted and made you who you are? What kind of, there's books that you can read. If you're suffering from fibromyalgia, and yes, diet's a huge part of a lot of health things, but there's also a lot of emotional aspects to it. And you should be doing something to expand yourself every single day. Read something, listen to something. There's one book called Childhood Interrupted that's all about childhood trauma. If you want to really understand what people could be going through and have compassion, read that book or listen to the Audible or the audio of it, because the more you can understand people, the more you can relate to them and the more you can actually help them. And I don't mean by being their therapist, but just you'll start to be able to identify things on a psychological level that can really make you be a more effective communicator, because you'll be able to identify just certain characteristics. And this has made, this is a huge difference. This has truly transformed every part of the business that I do, because I'm not just a Beachbody coach. My passion is instructors, helping instructors transform their communities, right? So I have instructors that are Beachbody coaches under me, because that's who my audience ultimately is. I want to help them build their fitness career, so that it's not just the Beachbody coach part. They want to be able to tangibly be in touch with people, not just, virtually or over the phone or whatever. These are people that know that there's not an affordable gym, or there's not a way for their friends to work out because there's not childcare. I want to help them set up their little mini gym in their living room, even with 5 friends that pay them $5 a class. But you know what? If they did that twice a week, that's another $200 a month, right? But then they could all bring the kids to one house, or just do country heat together, or whatever the case may be. Then they can do Shakeology and be more one-on-one. That's who my people are. My person is an instructor who wants to make fitness their entire career and quit their day job, that love to be active, that want to be an instructor because it keeps them active. I became an instructor so that I wouldn't get too far from this world, and that I'd have to, at least at the bare minimum, be teaching classes. So the 5, I'm going to wrap it up with this. My brain's all over the place. Sorry. This is what you get after a long day and teaching insanity in size. My husband and I in our company have something we call the 5 investments. This is what's going to make your career. This is what you have to have, and this is what your people have to have. And anyone that wants to work out or get healthy or whatever, first of all, the first investment is time. You have to invest time. You have to make time. Everyone only has 24 hours in a day. Everyone has kids. My husband's a nurse, and he's a physical personal trainer, and he has his own clients. We know what busy looks like, but you have to invest time, whether it's for the workouts, meal prep, building your coach business, whatever aspect of that. The first thing you have to invest in is time. The second thing is effort. That effort has to have focus, because without effort, there's no moving forward. Because listen, you could sit and focus on something, right? I could sit and stare at my makeup bag over on the couch and really focus on it. But until I put forth effort to go and get my makeup bag, my makeup's not going to get done. So no matter how hard we focus on something, if there's no effort, nothing changes. So effort is the second one. The third one, we call it new hydroxy, right? It's nutrition, hydration, and oxygen. You must eat well. You must hydrate, and you must breathe. We don't realize that the majority of us are taking very short breaths. So as you're building your business, as you're taking on your day-to-day life, this is an investment you must make in yourself. Hydration, nutrition, hydration, oxygenation. Okay? Third investment. Fourth one is movement and rest. You got to move. I know you're tired, but remember to inspire other people, even when you're tired, then just put on Beachbody On Demand. Do a 10-minute core video, right? You just got to get moving. You must do something. Keep a clip of that video and tell people, man, I really didn't want to work out today. Don't pretend you're Superwoman that works out every day. That's not relatable. That's 0.001% of the population. Actually, it's like 3 people. It's Shaun T, Tanya, and Danielle. That's it. I don't think there's anyone else. But even Tanya will tell you the days she doesn't, that she doesn't feel like it. But it's share the truth. Like, wow, I really didn't want to push play today. My kids were crazy. They didn't sleep last night. I got up early, but I know that this is so important. Tell the truth, guys. Share that true aspect, not Not just the never miss a Monday because you are powerful. How about never miss a Monday because if you don't do it on Monday, you fall off track and you know that you deserve better. That's the truth. And the last thing is having expert support or just support in general, guidance. Identify people like Shalene that you can watch to learn from, or other Beachbody coaches that are super successful. Watch and see how they do it. They don't have to be on your team. It doesn't make any difference. But if you can relate to them and find your path and what works for you, you don't have to do anything like me. You don't have to do anything like anyone else in your team. Find someone like you who is successful and emulate them. Then ask questions, even reach out to them. You know how far I've gotten in life by reaching out to even people that I thought were unreachable, and just say, first of all, be very specific when you ask for help. Don't say, I need help. People that are busy, it's like the most, if someone reaches out to me and they're like, Kole, I need help. I'm like, okay. I don't know. Then my answer is, I don't know, or I don't have time. But if you reach out and say, Kole, I feel really stuck because I'm an instructor and I only had 3 people again in my class this week, and I don't understand what's going on. Could you spend 5 minutes with me just to maybe help me narrow it down? Then my brain pulls it together. I can help you in 5 minutes, and I'm happy to do so. So when you need help, be specific. Reach out to the person that can help you and let them know how much time it's going to take. Hey, can you just give me 10 minutes? And respect other people's time, and you'll get everything that you want and desire. I guarantee you. So that was 40 minutes of kind of all over the place. So I apologize. I wanted to do more together. I was actually glad I got home by 8:15 because after class, because I tell people they can grab me if they have questions, it's not uncommon for me to get home at 9:30. So today I was very much like, sorry guys, I gotta go. Like, I'll see you on Tuesday. But don't stop learning. Don't stop learning about nutrition. Don't answer questions you don't know the answer to or make up an answer. If someone asks you something about the medications they're taking, you cannot answer that question. You are not qualified. Someone could seriously get hurt. You could seriously get in trouble. So be very mindful with the language that you choose. Maybe that means someone on your team is a nutritionist and they're willing to do a call for all of your customers, right? Or whatever the case may be. Don't be afraid that just because someone else is a coach and they have the expertise that they're going to steal your customer base. Because, I mean, it can happen, but most of the people out there are not there to be jerks. They want to help people. So maybe you can ask them, how can I support you for doing this for me, right? Like there's always an exchange. I always ask people, what can I do for you? Like, if you could do this for me, that would be great. Like, is there anything I can do in return, or do you need anything? My answer is usually no. If someone asks me, like, well, what can I do for you, Kole? Well, I'm good, but if anything comes up, I will certainly let you know. Because who knows, right? But I mean, I'm not just going to make something up. I don't keep track like that. I like to keep everything fluid and open. So it would really, if you're looking to build a business, it would be worth investing in some certifications or even just some nutrition knowledge, because people don't have any reason to believe you. They don't. But when you can answer their questions, or you understand even just the basics, maybe you don't have a certification, but if you can't answer what protein, carbs, and fats do and why people need them, you're going to have a hard time giving anyone nutrition advice. And again, it's only advice, and let them know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but here's what I understand. At least spend time Googling, why do we need carbs? What do carbs do? What does protein do? So that when people go, well, why should I drink Shakeology? Oh, well, it's got a lot of good stuff in it. What does that mean? Milkshakes have a lot of great stuff in them, in my opinion. You know, it's like, it depends on who you're talking to. But if you can say, well, it's great because it's got protein, it's got carbs in it, it's got all the vitamins and nutrients that you need, it's got probiotics. And, you know, especially when you're working out daily, you need protein to be able to rebuild the muscle. You need a little bit of carbohydrates. You actually need a lot of carbohydrates, but the carbohydrates that come, say, in the recovery drink, something you may not know, the recovery drink in the performance line, right? if you don't understand what the performance line is, step number one is understanding what does the recovery drink do. It's got protein and it's got BCAAs. You should learn what that is. So that when people are going, well, I want to build muscle, I want to get stronger, well, then you definitely need the recovery drink for two reasons, especially if you're doing something like hammer and chisel or body beast. Really for anyone, but if you're doing muscle work or you're looking to build muscle, you want that recovery because BCAAs are branched chain amino acids, which means that's something that our body produces. If we drink something with BCAAs, then it's not going to take it from our muscle. That's a good thing. So these little things are going to help you understand your business. Just start one product at a time or one program at a time. Don't try to be an expert on everything. Understand why Country Heat is great. Because anyone can do it, because it's low impact, whatever the case may be, and figure out why Shakeology is great. Not because the nutrients, understand why, what those nutrients do, why the protein is good, why the probiotics are good, because that's going to make you trustworthy. And if you don't know the answer to a question, tell someone, I'm not sure. Let me check. And maybe not even say, let me check with my coach, but just say, you know what? One of my friends she's amazing with all of this. She knows a lot more than I do because she's a trainer, whatever. I'll reach out to her, get them the right answer. Don't make something up, because if they find out it's not true, you've lost all of your trust. People don't expect you to know all the answers. They're reaching out to you to get the answers, whether that means you get it from someone else or somewhere else or whatever. Don't make it up. I know we don't want to look like we don't know what we're talking about, but the worst thing you can do in nutrition and fitness is make it up. Because if people will find out that it's not true, and that will kill your business. So that was a lot of stuff. I said I was wrapping it up 7 minutes ago. If you guys have more questions regarding everything that I covered, because I wish I could have more cohesively brought it all together, but it's fine. Any questions that you have, message me directly. Hey, Kole, can you speak a little bit more about this? Can you, I had one question about this. I have no problem. Like I said, if it's something that I can hash out in 5 or 10 minutes, I have no problem. Or if it's a quick question, reach out anytime. You don't have to worry about bothering me. If I don't have the time, I'll just tell you, I really don't have time to get to this right now, but reach out to me again, right? I go through crazy times, then I go through dead times, but I'll let you know. So don't worry about that aspect. But do you have a Facebook page? Yes, I have lots of Facebook pages. I would prefer if you do a Facebook friend invite. It's just Kole Hansen, Kole. You can find me through Carrie. It says I'm over my limit. I'll unfriend some people so that you can friend me, because I have lots of people I don't know who they are. You know what I mean? Like that never interact, and it's like Bob from Iowa, and I don't know who he is. Like, so, but if you send the request, I still see it, so I can unfriend. I joke with my mom; she's going to get kicked out if she doesn't start posting on my page more.
I saw you post that not too long ago.
Yeah, Facebook's silly, but I'd rather keep people that I actually can interact with on my personal page. Yes, I have a Facebook page. I have like 4. I have Get Physical. I never post on that one, but it exists. And then I have just Kole Hansen, but I really only do stuff that are big announcements there. Again, to simplify. I would love to see how you interact on your Facebook. Yeah, stay with my Facebook page. Honestly, that's where the authenticity and the transparency is. The majority, 99% of the population are not going to reach their 5,000 friend limit, so don't worry about it. Get to know the people that you want to be involved in your tribe. I'm not saying you can't also build your page, but honestly, it's a lot of maintenance, and if you've got a busy life, you're probably not going to keep it up, which means you're not going to be seen in the algorithms anyway, so it's kind of a waste of energy, because if only 8 people are going to see it, but energetically, it's a whole other thing for you. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole other channel that's open and you judging yourself of what you're not doing. Just do that stuff on your personal page.
So I have a couple live questions for you. What all are you certified in? Are you certified in everything that there's one available?
So I'm certified in PIO, Turbo, Insanity, Size, soon Country Heat. So I don't have P90X and I don't have Country Heat. Those are the 2 that I don't have.
Okay, and where do you teach at? Because Jennifer Mercer she got certified at Country Heat at Summit.
Nice.
And so she's been asking me a lot of questions about that. So do you teach it?
I need to get started on it. So because I've got to start making some money some way, and whatever I'm doing, I'm not doing something right. So
well, it's just that you just have to find the way that works for you. Right. That's it.
I haven't found it yet.
Right. Well, honestly, and it's a process, and it's frustrating, and you can feel really lost at times, and like you want to quit. And the times that you reach, like, you really feel like you can't do it anymore is when you're almost to the breakthrough. Like, as crazy as that sounds, it's kind of like the darkest before the dawn kind of a thing. So,
crazy weeks like this, and my internet doesn't want to work when I had a meeting right before this one, and it just quit on me.
And it happens. So the best thing that, have you ever taught group fitness before?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Scary.
No, that's fine. No, but Country Heat's a great place to start. It's a pretty, that's a more in-depth conversation. And I'm actually going to start doing monthly classes to help teach people how to build classes, how to advertise or rent space or do it at home. And I'm going to start doing basically a monthly class, right? That's going to be online, and it'll be recorded. So if you have internet issues or you can't make it or whatever, you'll be able to stream it and download it and keep it, right? How do you get certified? You just go to, it depends on which thing you want to get certified. You just search Insanity Live certifications. That's it. You guys, it's a 1-day certification. And if you've never done any sort of group fitness before, I also highly recommend Insanity. As crazy as it sounds, it's the easiest format to teach.
It is. I just got Turbo Kit certified. I am terrified to teach it because I happen to give the cues on beat and all that stuff is just mind-blowing to me.
Turbo is the hardest. No, it's not. Pio is the hardest. Well,
I was going to say fantastic. Go figure. Leave it to me.
But Turbo's fun. It's just, it takes a lot to memorize.
Well, and I got taught by Melissa McAllister. So nice. That doesn't help much. She's like, here's my obliques from doing this move so much because you got to drop your ribs and build her obliques up so much that they stick out from her ab or from her. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Okay. The only other question I have, does anybody else have any questions? Because I had this live stuff. So I just want to make sure I wasn't leaving anybody out. Tara?
I was just wondering how you beat the Facebook. However you say that word.
Algorithms?
I can't say that word.
Exactly.
Yes. How do you beat them?
Exactly. Well, the thing is that by the time you figure out how they've changed them again. They're always changing them. So it's part of the reasons why following someone like Shaun Johnson, even just getting on her marketing email list, you don't have to buy any of her programs. The stuff that she gives just on her emails is worth it. But she usually will let you know any shifts and changes that have happened. Because by the time, the algorithms, as soon as you figure out the system, they change the system, right? They do that on purpose because of branding and companies and all of that stuff. So sometimes they think pictures are more interesting. So if you post a picture with text, they deem that as more interesting. So they're going to boost that in the algorithms of Facebook. Then there was a period of time where multiple pictures were more interesting. So if you uploaded 3 pictures, say a picture of you drinking Shakeology, you doing your workout, and your workout shoes, they thought that was more interesting. So that makes more people see it. So it's honestly, it's something that's ever changing and following. There's 2 people you should follow, Shaun Johnson, and there's a woman named Madeline Sklar. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's Sklar. Sklar. But she's like a social media genius. If you just Google her, you can find whatever network you want to follow her on. But she always does amazing tips and tricks and what's changed and live streams. And so those 2 people will keep you the most updated.
I love Shaun. Anybody else have any questions? No. I thought you raised your hand. I'm like, no, we don't do that. I paid for your you did some training, and I have not had time to look at it, to where we have online and there's a Facebook group. Is that for just Insanity, or was that straight across?
That's anyone. That's anyone. But here's
information to Jennifer.
Well, but here's what I'm actually thinking of transforming that, and you would actually automatically get to participate because you bought the full package. Is I'm basically, with these monthly classes, it's going to be 4 live. I'm going to be teaching each module.
Okay.
Right? So because you already bought the package, you'll have access to that regardless. But I realized it's too much content, and people don't have time, so they don't know where to start, whatever. So what I'm going to do with these monthly classes is it's pretty going to be, for anyone that hasn't bought the full package, it's $25. Okay. So there's 2 options. You can either buy the full package, which I'll give you guys a discount coming through Carrie. You will, normally it's $500. But I'll do a discount for you guys. I'll create a discount code if you're interested. So for the full program, that would make it $349 with the discount I'll give you guys. Or if you want to do the monthly classes, they're $25 each. But so obviously the full program is much cheaper. However, maybe you don't need all of that information, or you'd like to have more of a live class setting so you can interact and hear questions and that kind of thing. So you can choose one or the other, but Carrie, anyone that's already bought the program will automatically get access to those classes. Okay. But that way you know what's coming up at the class each month, because I'm going to do a set date, right? Like first Mondays or something like that. So it's the same every month. But then we can have it a bit more interactive, and it's not going to be one of those things where I'm going to be selling anyone on anything. It's going to be like, all right, this class is going to be 90 minutes, and there's going to be worksheets and stuff that you can download, and here's the forms, and here's what to go through, or here's an example how to create a flyer, here's an example of, whatever the case may be. Just so that I can better assist people and make it a bit more interactive. But that's what I'm all figuring now, because I'm waiting for my fall schedule, because I just got hired at another gym as well. So I'm figuring out my class schedule and all of that before I do it. I did see someone post up a question about the best times to post on Facebook.
Yes.
It honestly depends on your network, and you need to just test it. Because if it's stay-at-home moms, it might be after they get their kids to school, or it might be right before they pick their kids up from school because they're like waiting in the car or something like that. So you need to play with that. For me, because most of my network is people that are working, it's lunchtime. Like, because when they first get back to their desk or right before they go to lunch, they're on their phone, right? Or when they and then right after work. Maybe they're waiting that last 20 minutes before the clock is running out. But I also have people in all of the time zones. So it's going to kind of depend on who your audience is, to be honest. So just test some things. Try putting up a funny video of a cat or a funny video of a dog. Like, that stuff keeps people engaged too. Don't just post things about your Beachbody business, or else they're going to feel like that's the only thing that's important to you. And it lets you know how many people are seeing your post.
Yes.
So if you know that in the morning 100 people liked your puppy video, but then you put a post about Beachbody and you got 2 likes, at least 100 people saw your post that day. So they didn't like your status, maybe check the wording, or, whatever. It doesn't, you won't get 100 people liking your Beachbody post, but if it's only 2, might want to reevaluate.
Okay. That's awesome. Rhonda, you got good questions. Anything else? She says
you are so welcome.
Okay, anybody else? Because don't want to keep her any longer. Thank you, my dear. Oh, what a look at her puppy. Oh, look how cute.
He is. This is Henry.
Aww.
He's my little, I got him from a rescue in Utah, actually.
Aww.
Like, who wouldn't want him? I don't understand.
No. Right.
I don't understand. Like, he's the sweetest, nicest Chihuahua on the planet. Totally potty trained. Doesn't chew anything. I
was waiting for that. I knew Rhonda had one too.
Oh, yeah, he's my little baby.
Well, I don't. Did you watch the movie Ms Kole?
I didn't.
Okay, we have one of the dogs from that movie.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't know if he's loose in the house.
Hi, Henry.
Come here.
Do 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 do
I
do
would
do
want Queenie in here. She'd be all over the place.
do 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 do. But I'll put him in a lot of my videos because if people are dog people, they love it. They're like, Henry! Like more people remember his name than probably mine in my videos because they'll be like, hi, Henry.
Yeah, he was the second dog in the movie.
Oh, that's so funny.
Because his name's Havoc because he wreaks havoc everywhere he goes. Oh, he's like a tornado. All right, Kole, we won't keep you any longer, but I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Here. All right. Bye, guys. See you soon.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
I don't ever remember how to shut this off. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on here. You're still muted, dear. Rhonda, you're waving at us. All right, guys, I'm going to shut off. I haven't had dinner yet. Love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.